Hello, all you beautiful people. I am so excited that you joined me. It's the top of the hour. For those of you that do not know me, I am Coach Maria, and I'm a certified high performance coach, law of attraction life coach, and I love going live and sharing some stories on personal development. So I'm glad you're here with me, and I'm going to go ahead and get started. And you can always put comments in the comments. And if don't lose my train of thought, I'll get to the chat message. Now, what I love to do is I like to keep these things short. So I know that you are really, really busy, and I so respect the time that you've taken to invest in your personal development, because that is the key. You're investing in your own personal growth and personal development. So I'm going to go ahead and continue on with the discussion, because I want to tell you a story about what happened to me this morning. I was doing a quick Instagram message and I said, okay, are we going to flounder? Or are we going to flourish? And then I ended up the message with flounder instead of flourish. So we all make mistakes. And what the beauty is, we can correct our mistakes. And I'm not sure if I'm live on Facebook because I was having some connection issues. So I apologize in advance if I'm acting kind of dorky. But listen, we're not going to flounder today. We're going to flourish. We're going to flourish. We're going to have an amazing 2023, right? That's what we're going to do. Amazing 2023. So now, when I look at what is going on in our lives, all of our lives, I look at, I'm a big person that studies positive psychology. I love positive psychology. And why? Because positive psychology makes life worth living. So, for example, over the years, what did psychology? I like to talk a little bit about the science. And trust me, I'm not a science geek, but we need to understand the science of psychology. And psychology historically has focused on what? Psychology has totally focused on how to cure mental illness, how to decrease challenges such as depression and anxiety. And positive psychology really focuses on using science so we can thrive. It helps us thrive. And so it moves beyond functioning to building capacity for ourselves. Now, this is not a happyology thing. This is a lifelong process that we continue to develop year over year over year. And there are more and more people studying positive psychology. And the doctor of it is the great Dr. Martin Seligman, the doctor of positive psychology. And like I said, I love it because it moves us from being in anxiety and anxiousness, and how do you take all the negative and rework it, but focusing on the positive. And many of us, do we feel like we aren't living our best life? You know, some of us do. And perhaps your relationships could be better. And you know, because I see it every day, that we are so capable of accomplishing so much more. Or maybe you desire more meaning and purpose in your life. We get it. We've all been there. So I'm going to talk today about a few things that will help you move ahead in flourishing in your life. I am going to talk about things. And I'm going to ask you some questions today. Hey, maybe they may be a little uncomfortable, but this is all about your self-reflection time. It's about self-reflecting in your own personal journey. So first of all, I'm going to ask you a question, and I really do. Put in the chat, do you wake up with dread in the morning? How many of you wake up with dread in the morning? It's like, oh my gosh, I have to get up. It's terrible. I got to go to work. How many of you wake up with dread every day? Or maybe 3 days a week, you wake up dreading the day. Or do you wake up with excitement for the day? I mean, excitement, enthusiasm for the day. Are you excited about getting up, getting the kids off to school, getting ready for work? Are you excited about the opportunities that are presented to you? I want you to ask yourself, because I was having a conversation with one of my coaching clients just this week. And one of the questions I always ask is, on a scale of 1 to 10, tell me, how are you feeling today? And her response was so spot on. I was like, yes. She said, I've decided that I am a 10, a 10, a 10, a 10. And I said, she goes, I've decided that in 2023, I am going to always be a 10 because it is a choice. And I said, absolutely. That's a beautiful thing. So when we wake up in the morning, are we a 10 or are we a 0? Are we a 1, a 2, a 3? Now, is every day going to be a 10? Maybe not for her, but she's waking up with the intention that she is going to be a 10 today. And no matter what gets in her way, she's going to stay a 10. And what is really incredible is to have watched her growth and development, that simply she made a choice to wake up every day, being excited about the day, So when we look at positive psychology and how to live your best life and how to flourish, there are 3 things that we need to look at. And now we're not going to get to them all, because I'm going to be doing this every week, gang. So I'm going to be introducing different topics in this whole positive psychology realm week after week after week, because Fridays are my day to go live. Now, there'll be sometimes I'll miss, but Fridays is it. So, block out your calendar. You'll get emails from me to see me on Friday, and I'll be talking about the various levels of how we continue to build a flourishing life in 2023. All right. So there's 3 things. Foundation. We have to have a strong foundation. Right? Have to have a strong foundation. What's next? Happiness. And the 3rd thing is we need to have a hopeful future. All right? So foundational things. We have to have a blueprint. Okay? We have to have a blueprint for our life. And I use the analogy of building a house. When someone is going to build a house, what do? They have a blueprint, right? They have a blueprint. So they start with the basic fundamental, the foundation, right? Because building your best life, my friends, isn't a one-time job. We are works in progress. We change, we evolve. I'm not the same person I was 30, 40 years ago, right? And I'm still evolving and changing. I'm evolving and changing and continuing to grow. So what works in our life or worked before may change over time. Now, our goal with having a best life blueprint is to provide a framework and some tools that allow you to continue to build on the life you desire. And as I said, it doesn't happen on its own. We have a choice, right? We have a choice. We can proactively design and build our lives. And when we build a home, what do we start with? Okay, we're going to put a budget together, and we're going to put, we're going to look at the features, we're going to do some look at the landscape. And then we look at, where do we want to go? How many bedrooms do we want? How many baths do we want? What do we want the home to feature? Do we want a large kitchen because we like to cook? So I want you to think about, how do I want to build my best life? And as we work together, and if you join me week after week, we're going to learn so much together, right? And how do we begin, though? How do we begin building a foundation for our best life? How do we build happiness? And how do we build a hopeful future? We do it simply by making some initial changes and looking at ourselves And I love, 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 love to think about how we make the initial change in ourselves. The first thing we need to do is we need to have an awareness. If we're going to make real change within ourselves, we have to have an awareness. That's the first thing. So I say awareness. We have to evaluate all the areas of our lives. And we have to ask ourselves, I mean, this is really self-reflection time. Am I happy with my life? Am I happy with my relationships? Am I happy with my career? Am I happy with my hobbies? And am I happy with my health? Now, I'm going to tell you guys, I always get into the health issue because I got to be honest. This coach, this crazy coach, loves to eat. So I am constantly struggling with my health, but I am very much aware of it. I'm aware of it. And so awareness is so important, being aware of who we are, who we surround ourselves with, where we live, the environment we put ourselves into. And so it's simply, I ask myself, how am I showing up in the world? How am I showing up in my world? So evaluating and how am I showing up? And then when I'm looking at awareness, I'm asking myself, let me evaluate where my thoughts are today. Are my thoughts helping me look forward to my future, or are they lending you to be unhappy or go into self-despair? Are your thoughts adding to, feeding you, supporting you, or are your thoughts stealing from your life? Because what happens with our thoughts create our attitude. And what is your attitude about life? Now, I am a huge proponent of having a positive mindset and having a good attitude. As a matter of fact, the saying that I started using back in my 20s is 90% of life is about your attitude. The rest is window dressing. And no matter what happens in your life, you can start with a good attitude. Attitude to your friends, attitude to your relationships, attitude to your children, to your neighbors. Okay, having a good attitude about what's going on in your life. So now that I'm really aware of what's going on with me, and I'm aware of the thoughts that I'm putting into that beautiful brain of ours, and you're connecting all those neural pathways, I say, then I need to go to accepting. Okay, accepting. And this is a big one because many of us, including myself, we have a hard time accepting ourselves and our power in the moment to direct our attention and our attitude. So we have to think about accepting who we are and ask yourself, is the environment that I'm in congruent, in alignment with who I completely am? What have I created? So accepting who I am. And that means accepting all the drama llamas, right? That means accepting the past in the full. It means being okay with it. This too shall pass, my friends. But when you really accept that the past is gone, you won't have any hang-ups about it anymore. The past is gone. It is what it is. It's gone. Because I know what happens to a lot of us. We get trapped in the past. So what I want you to think about doing is reinterpreting or having a new perspective. Because every lesson that we learned in life, be it good or bad, has created who you are today. But that doesn't mean I have to carry the negative comment that someone said about me 30, 40 years ago, or when my mom or dad yelled at me, or they told me, don't sing because you're a terrible singer. Well, I know I'm a terrible singer. However, the comments that we use the words that we use can be hurtful, can't they? So we have to be really cognizant of the conversations that have happened in the past. And are you willing to let them go and be more present today and less attached, my friends, to situations and moments of yesterday? So let's look back. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to look back for a moment, and I'm going to recognize that what a gift that the past brought me, the lessons. And as the great Disney song says, let it go. And I'm definitely not going to sing for you, by gosh, but you know the song, let it go, release it, and embrace the present situation and re-engage with the now. Because what I know and what I've seen over the years, and I've coached hundreds and hundreds of clients, stewing about yesterday, man, it sucks the life out of you. It sucks the life out of you. And I'm going to ask you this. What is it time for you to let go of? What has been eating at you and carrying you and keeps you up at night? Let go of that baggage. Because if you want to flourish in 23 and going forward, we've got to start letting go of the baggage and accepting who we are, accepting that happened, and accepting the fact I can't change it. I can't change it. It happened. It's over. Now, what's coming up, my friends? It's tax season, right? People are going to get all pissed off about it. Oh, I got to pay the tax man. Let it go. Don't get emotional about it. Somebody cut you off on the freeway. Don't get emotional about it. Let it go. You can't change it. We don't know what's going on in their life. They may be having a bad day. Just go, oh, he must be in a bigger hurry than I am. You ever been in those merging lanes and people trying to squeeze in? I just go, oh, let him go. And some people go, oh, maybe I'm going to give him that crazy finger. But really, let it go. Can't control it. You can't change it. It is what it is. Every time, I've heard this over and over. Every time you have to take the garbage out, people complain about it. Look at it this way. Every time I take the garbage out, I'm releasing more and more of my past. And think about how joyful it is to be able to get rid of that garbage and have a clean slate So again, awareness, acceptance, accepting who you are, letting go of the past, because it is not who you are today, is it? No, it's not. And then this is one of my favorite words, and everyone hates it. Accountability. Accountability. And we must be accountable and own the reality that we have in our lives. Many people don't want to commit because they're afraid of accountability. And what we know through positive psychology studies is that high performers, people that are flourishing, people that are thriving, are big on accountability. Now, what we do know is avoidance doesn't work. You got to own what you say you are. You got to own what you say and do. So be accountable. You have to be accountable for the role and the energy you bring to every situation. We own that. We own the energy we bring. I always say summon the energy. Every time I get on a call, I am summoning the energy. And I know what my role is. I got to bring the energy so I can influence and help others get better, right? And I am accountable for the actions of my life. And real accountability for you is stepping into the role, fully stepping into the role of who you want to be, stepping into it. Because I know there's something there for each of you that you want to do, and you have been squashing it. But it's time. We've got so much living left to do. So speaking of accountability, I want to make sure that you own your own responses. Don't be a victim. Oh, they're saying these bad. It's their fault. They're making me feel this way. Now, you know that someone in our world, sometimes people are going to give you a lot of crap. It's just reality. But guess what? I don't have to accept it. I don't have to accept it. Be fully committed to your own response, because people are going to say negative things. Okay. I just let it go. I've been accused of being too understanding, too objective. I just said, look, I cannot control that. I'm responsible for my own response. I'm responsible for my own emotions. I'm going to own it. And let me tell you, over the years, I've had to work at that because, like everyone else, I have emotions. I get angry. I get impatient with people. But I have to stop and think about, how am I going to respond? And am I allowing, am I passing control on to someone? And people that are flourishing, you can just see it. You can see on their face that they're alive and vibrant and excited about what's going on in their lives. And they're constantly bringing joy to every situation. Be accountable. Be accountable. Like, I'm accountable for my health, right? You know, I am. I'm accountable for my career. I'm accountable for anything that goes on in my world. I'm accountable if I mess up the technology today. I'm accountable for what I'm having for dinner tonight. I'm accountable for sticking that donut in my mouth. I am. Victim or victor, you choose. I choose to be a victor. And I own it. I go, all right, I did this. Okay, I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm going to move on. And I don't beat myself up over it. And I don't want you to beat yourself. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to have to, but own it. I own it. I'm cool with that. Now, one of the things that I want to share with you is the cool thing about being accountable is, if you really want to be accountable, give yourself a deadline, because deadlines give us accountability. If I don't do this by a certain time, I'm going to miss out. Deadlines or consequences. Deadline or consequence. Deadlines always work. If you are going on vacation and you know you've got to set up a sitter for the pets, you know you have to get someone to come in and water the plants, you know you have to get whatever it is, you know that you're going to get that handled. You want to go on vacation, you want to have a good time. You've got major projects at work you have to finish. By God, guess what? You're going to get them done. So give yourself deadlines, little hacks that I want you to start thinking about. Give yourself some consequences. I remember years ago, it's been about 13 years ago, my daughter got married. And I said to her, I am not my hair was pretty dark at the time. And I said, I got to lose this weight because, weddings, it's all about the pictures. And I said to her, all right, I'm going to be accountable for something. And she said, what is it? And I said, I am not going to color my hair until I hit a certain weight. Now, can you imagine? I mean, just imagine the accountability that was on me and the consequences, because my daughter, my family, the wedding party, the photographer, you got to color your hair. You got to color your hair. I said, no. If I don't stick to the consequence, if I don't give myself a consequence, I'm not going to do it. Well, guess what? The day I hit that weight, boom, down I went to the hair salon and got my hair colored. And then when I turned 60, I said, the heck with it. I'm never coloring my hair again. And I haven't since. And I'm really excited about the freedom that it gives me. So give yourself some deadlines, give yourself some accountability. And by the way, having an accountability partner is the best. Having an accountability partner. I have accountability and consequences with most of my clients. It's really hard to get them to agree to do something. So we have awareness. If we want to change ourselves, we have to be aware of it. We have to know, we have to have acceptance of who we are. We have to have accountability. And what's the last thing we have to do? We have to take action. We have to take action. We have to do something every day to make ourselves better. Whether it's waking up in the morning and giving yourself a pat on the back, or whether it's in the morning, and I love this in the morning, is I do morning affirmations. Because when I do something differently in my life, it makes my life better. And when I make my life better, I can help others make their lives better, right? And I always take some action to generate enthusiasm, whether it's, you didn't see me 10 minutes before I got on, I was listening to some Motown classics and getting in the groove. I was summoning my energy to make sure that I was fully present and excited. And I was nervous because it's the first time I've done this by myself where I didn't do the Facebook Live thing. I was a little nervous. I'm like, oh, am I going to make this? Am I going to be able to do it? So I generate enthusiasm for every single activity. There is nothing worse. There is nothing worse than walking to a meeting with your head down and dreading it. So choose to wake up with excitement and not dread. Now, the outlook and your future outlook comes from the moment you take that first beat in the morning. From the first beat in the morning, that sets your day. Now, the beauty is we can always do a reset, right? We can always do a reset. And just because your day may start off bad doesn't mean you cannot do a reset. So sometimes I will be like, I'm just got off a coaching call and I'm like drained for a moment and I have to do a reset because I want to be fully present for my next client. So I always have to prime myself for the emotion and enthusiasm that I want to bring to every single event. So I'm consistently generating excitement. And then I ask myself, who can I surprise with positive enthusiasm today? Whether it's, I don't know if you do this, but I try to make a practice of sending a text to at least 3 or 4 of my friends or family during the day, just to tell them how much I care about them. Not only does it boost them, it boosts me too. That little serotonin kicks in, you know, the good vibes. So ask yourself an important question. What am I worried about today? What am I worried about today? And what am I avoiding? What are you avoiding? I want to tell you. Now, I always say I'm going to hold this call to 30 minutes because I honor the time that I committed to you guys. And I want to ask you, what are you worried about today? And what are you avoiding? What are you avoiding that you know needs to get done? And I love the power of 3. I love the power of 3. 3 actions every day. Just 3 actions every day that you can do that will help you move your personal development forward. Now, I said it could be something as simple as sending a text to one of your friends. It could be something as simple as writing in your journal. It could be something as simple as going to meet a friend for coffee. It could be calling a past client, tell them how much you appreciate them, or it could be sitting down and just reading a good book, reading some positive thoughts on yourself, for yourself, because we are getting into February. It's the self-care month, right? We are getting there. So I want you to think about what 3 action items could I do each day that would gain some phenomenal results. Now, some of you in business, like, what could I do? Could I teach someone that I work with how to do a certain project so they will learn and grow? Can I offer my assistance for someone that is struggling and guide them? What could I do? What can I do for myself? And if this is important, I don't want you to go to bed at night until you've done it. don't go to bed at night until you've done it. You sit back there and said, and like I said, it could be something as telling your spouse or significant other, hey, I appreciate you. It's the little things, because in order to make building a flourishing in your life, we have to make the changes within ourselves. So we have awareness, we have acceptance, we have accountability, and then we have to take action, massive action, right? That's what we do. And what I want to leave you with today is we're going to continue to work on a blueprint, because I said it doesn't happen on its own. I'm going to give you some exercise, because I'll be sending you an email with some exercises and some questions I want you to answer, because positive psychology can build on what makes life worth living, not just reducing suffering. Let's focus on the positive in our life, right? Too much focus has been on the negative. So let's focus. And as the great Dalai Lama says, happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from our own actions. It comes from our own actions. Okay. So what I'd like to leave you with today, do 3 things that are going to bring you joy, bring you happiness. Know that psychology can help us thrive, and it's all science-based. And if we look at it and study it, we're going to find that it is so effective. And with that, I'm going to open up to see if anyone has any questions, because as I said, I want to honor, I said I was going to talk for 30 minutes and just give you an opportunity to ask any questions. And if not, I'm going to be here next week, again on Friday at 12 noon Pacific. And if any of you want to have a one-on-one session, just go to my website and coachingwithmaria.com and schedule an appointment on my Calendly. And I'd be happy to spend some one-on-one time with you. I am inspired by those of you that believe in yourself and believe in your personal growth and development. And I'm going to be here for a long time doing this. I don't care what this gray hair looks like. I'm going to be here. And I'm here to encourage others to be better every day. So if there are no questions, no comments, I am going to let you go enjoy your lunch. And for me, I'm going to go have an egg salad sandwich. So I thank you for joining, and I'll see you next Friday.